Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. And today, we're going to be discussing 5 NBA teams that are flying under the radar before this NBA season. And before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so that you get all my videos when they are posted. And if you like this video in general, make sure you leave a comment down below and of course, like the video. So let's get right into the video on 5 teams that are flying under the radar before this NBA season. As you guys know, there have been a lot of changes this offseason. For example, Paul George being traded to Oklahoma City, Melo being traded to Oklahoma City. It's all that stuff in an attempt to beat the Warriors. So a lot of people want to side with the new teams that have been formed because of these trades. But there have been teams that are consistently good on this list. And people are forgetting about them because of all the trades that have happened this offseason. They might not have had a good offseason, but they have been consistently good, and their talent just cannot be overlooked. Let's get into number 1. So in my opinion, the Trailblazers have a very stacked starting lineup, with Damian Lillard at point guard, CJ McCollum at shooting guard, and Maurice Harkless at small forward. But their center and power forward position are okay. Al-Farouq Aminu at power forward, Jusuf Nurkic at center. And some key players the Trailblazers have off the bench is Shabazz Napier, Pat Connaughton, Evan Turner, and Jake Layman, Ed Davis, Zach Collins, and Noah Vonleh. Very stacked at power forward, not much depth at the guard position. In my opinion, even though the Trailblazers haven't improved much this offseason, they're still a very solid team in the NBA. A very strong starting lineup with CJ and Damian Lillard at the point guard and shooting guard. They've had a lot of time to gel together. I think they will be really good this year. And Damian Lillard's work often gets overlooked in the NBA, as he's in the West and he just can't make it to the All-Star game, so he just gets overlooked. He's one of the most underrated players in the NBA right now. And having CJ with him in that offense is a really nice addition, having a shooting around him. Because Damian even though he is a good shooter, he can drive. And if he can drive and then kick it out to CJ McCollum, who knows? Maybe this will be a deadly duo. But their bench really isn't that good. I could see how that could be a problem. But really, no bench is that good in the West. I can't even name one person off the bench for the Thunder. So, even though they have some key additions, like key young additions, like Zach Collins, and a nice veteran addition with Noah Vonleh. So, it's an okay team, but I think even though I have them as an underrated team, I still give them 7th seed in the West. But one of the main reasons I have them as an underrated team is because they haven't changed at all. Their chemistry is really good. And with the addition of Nurkic, who was amazing last year until he got hurt before the playoffs, and then they got swept by the Warriors, let me just clear something up. Even with Nurkic, they probably would have got swept. The Warriors were on a tear, and they almost swept the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I considered a really good team, but, now looking back at that, it really wasn't a game. I don't know why anyone ever thought the Cavs had a chance. Maybe it's because I'm a Cavs fan, and I was just hoping, they'd win, but yeah, so moving on from that biased take, but this team has not changed. Really, only their addition was Zach Collins this offseason. That's the only key addition, at least. But they have strong chemistry, strong starting team. But maybe during the year, if they can get some going on the bench, this might be a deadly team to look out for in the NBA season. Let's get on to number 2. As you guys can see, these starters are insane. It's probably something you'd see in a 2K simulation. As you can see, they have Rajon Rondo at the point guard, Drew Holiday at the shooting guard, Dante Cunningham at the small forward, and of course, Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins filling out at the end of that lineup. Alright, so now we're on the bench, and I know what you're thinking. It's really not that bad. It's really not as bad as I thought. Jordan Crawford, not Jamal Jordan, so not the good Crawford, but Tony Allen. He's one of the most underrated players in the NBA. That's for a different video. Ian Clark, who, all the Warriors fans loved him, so I guess he's got to be good. Antoine Moore, Darius Miller, Solomon Hill, Chiek Delilo. I bet say that 5 times. Okay, Alexis Anuchika. So, a lot of foreign players that I don't know how to pronounce. So let's get into why. So, guys, as you can see, this team, it's really not that bad. When I was doing my research on this team, I thought their bench would be horrible. But it's really not that bad as I thought. As you can see, I love the addition of Rajon Rondo. I love the addition, but I'll get into that in a second. Let's just acknowledge that Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins are on the same team. I mean, that's insane. That's the best front court in the entire league. And it might be like the best front court of all time, depending on if this works. It's really, you don't know how this was gonna work. It's a huge experiment, and who knows if this works though. Wow, this team is extremely underrated. If this works, in my opinion, if this works, this is a top 3 seed in the West. And if it doesn't work, it's not playoffs, and DeMarcus Cousins is gone. But what I like mostly about this team is Rajon Rondo. He will feed them the ball. He's one of the best passers, him and Steve Nash, in NBA history. He will feed DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis the ball so that they will not, so no one else will hog the ball, just those two. And it's insane on defense. This team is insane if it works. If DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis can figure out how to work with each other, this team is insane. And guys, as I kind of said, in the middle of the video, Tony Allen is a key part of this team. He's a lockdown defender. I mean, just put Tony on Steph Curry, and it's a game over. If you're playing a team like the Warriors or a team that you need more defense on, at the point guard position or shooting guard position, throw Tony Allen out there, and he'll lock him down better than Drew Holiday or anyone else. Drew Holiday is a lot better on offense, but Tony Allen's defensive ability is underrated because he has no offense. It is a problem not having offense, but you have DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis in the same lineup. Why would you need offense? And of course, Rajon Rondo, but Rajon Rondo isn't that bad. As you saw at the end of his little stint with the Bulls, he did pretty good in the Eastern Conference Finals, even though it was, perfect storm for him to have a good game or good game or two. He still did really well and performed when he needed to. Let's get on to number 3. So guys, as you can see, I messed up. I had a key player instead of starter, so just to get that out of the way right away. But let's get into this. Point guard, Jamal Murray. Shooting guard, Gary Harris, who, oh my gosh, I'm so underrated. Small forward, Wilson Chandler. Power forward, Paul Millsap. And of course, at center, Nikola Jokic. Now we have the actual key players. We have Jameer Nelson, Emmanuel Mudiay, Will Barton, Kenneth Faried, Juan Gomez, and Mason Plumlee. Alright, so if you're noticing a trend, again, this is an experiment with Paul Millsap and Nikola Jokic. Which this one I'm more confident it will work. Even though Nikola Jokic and Paul Millsap are both insanely reliant on offense and need the ball in their hand, I just have a feeling that based on Nikola Jokic's playmaking ability for center, that this will work with Paul Millsap cutting or, staying at the perimeter because he is a decently good shooter, same as Nikola Jokic. So this team can also stretch the floor like crazy. Wilson Chandler, Paul Millsap, Nikola Jokic, amazing. Gary Harris is a key player. He is amazing on offense. Yeah, I mean, he can dunk it like crazy. And, he's got a nice shot in there too. But he's amazing on defense. He's one of the best defense players on this team. And I think he needs to actually be, looked at as, the top player, one of the top players on this team. But amazing defense on this team. Gary Harris, Wilson Chandler. And they have great offense in Paul Millsap, who's really an offense player. And maybe Nikola Jokic, depending on what he did this offseason. He is really young still. Has a lot of room for improvement. A pretty good bench, too. A lot of guards, which does worry me. But the addition to Juan Gomez might be really key, who is also a very good defender. And Kenneth Faried, who is one of the best shot blockers in this league. He reminds me of a Serge Ibaka who cannot shoot. But he is he's pretty nice. He can play center because he does have a good inside game. But this team is really good. It is amazing on defense, and it does have a mix of offense. But that offense probably won't be able to stop the Warriors. but it'll definitely be able to be fun to see what happens. I probably give them a fifth seed, somewhere in the middle of the pack, but they probably won't be able to beat the Warriors unless they get a huge piece. And who knows? Maybe they will. Let's go on to number 4. Alright, so in the starting lineup for the Dallas Mavericks, we have Dennis Smith Jr., Wesley Matthews, Harrison Barnes, Dirk Nowitzki, and ending it off, Nerlens Noel. So some key players we have off the bench: Devin Harris, Yogi Ferrell, Seth Curry, Dorian Finley-Smith, and Josh Roberts. So as you can see, this team is really not that bad. I was going to have them on an overrated list, which coming out soon, link in the description. But, I really did some research on this team, and I did some research on Dennis Smith Jr., their draft pick they picked this year, and I really liked what I saw from him. He did really good in that summer league, and also did really good in the preseason, which, doesn't really matter much, but, it's NBA action, so it's a nice little indicate of, how good the player will be, but I'm not going to rely totally off of him. But Nerlens Noel, I'm really key on him. He reminds me of a DeAndre Jordan, except probably better on defense and not as athletic and not as good on offense. But, it's close, but it's, he's really good there. And this is Dirk Nowitzki's last year, so maybe he'll be firing up the team or stuff, who knows. Maybe. But Harrison Barnes, also a key piece to this team. I liked him, what I saw from him this coming year. But, this team, as I said, has a great three-point shooting. Dirk could still, pull up and shoot that. And Harrison Barnes, amazing three-point shooter. Wesley Matthews, amazing three-point shooter. And Dennis Smith is really not that good, but he'll be kicking the ball out and diming it to the players on the perimeter. Or throwing lobs to Nerlens Noel once he cuts in. And we'll see what happens. So, three-point shooting is better than twos. As you guys might know, threes are better than twos. So, guys, another key part of this team is Noel. They got him near the trade deadline, right around there. But he is amazing on defense. Really, this team lacks defense ability. Dirk, he cannot play defense. Harrison Barnes cannot play defense. Wesley Matthews, yeah, he's in. And Dennis Smith, meh. But Noel is one of the best defenders in the league, and he might be a candidate for Defender of the Year, but he'll definitely be on the all-defense second or first team, depending on how he is, because of how good of a shot blocker he is. He's definitely way underrated as a shot blocker and as a defender in this league. So when I was looking at film, I saw one thing. This team tends to slow down tempo, which, it might be good to have your own tempo and pace as a team, but it was not good. They seemed tired because the offense was running through Dirk, who is a slow player, but on the teams that he won championships with, there was that one up-pace point guard. Jason Terry, he was the point guard who kept the pace up when the Mavericks won the championship. And I think Dennis Smith Jr. might be that guy. He will keep the tempo going from what I saw in the Summer League and his college. And he will keep it going and keep it high tempo so that Harrison Barnes and Wesley Matthews can excel in this offense. And I think they will. I do not see the Mavericks making the playoffs in the West. Maybe in the East they might be really good, but I see them being really close to the playoffs. I think they are way underrated. People are having them as the worst in the West. Absolutely not. The Mavericks have a chance to be something special once Dirk leaves, and, maybe they get one more draft pick, and, who knows what happens, because the NBA is crazy nowadays. Let's get on to number 5, and, this is going to be a good one. So, guys, as you can see, it's the Phoenix Suns again. Who was not expecting that? Let's look at the starters. Eric Bledsoe, Devin Booker, my boy Josh Jackson, Chris, who does not miss, and Tyson Chandler, baby. Defensive stud. He's going to go right back into his prime in this year. Trust me, Tyson Chandler.
It's time to stop!
But on a serious note, Tyson Chandler's winning the MVP. Okay, moving on. We got, as key players, we got Brandon Knight, TJ Warren, Jared Dudley, Dragon Bender, who, of course, kill it like usual, and Elijah Millsap. So guys, I want to start this off by saying, why is everyone forgetting about Devin Booker? People were comparing him to Kobe Bryant at the end of last year. What happened to those comparisons? Because the talk has stopped. He dropped 70 points. He dropped 70 points in one game. And how old was he? How old? He's literally only gotten better because of how young he is. I mean, this offseason, there's no way he got worse. No injuries happened. There's no way. I mean, maybe Josh Jackson will, take a little bit, his back will feel better because he won't have to carry the team as much because Josh Jackson will carry. He's not a good shooter, but he can drive in the paint and can dish it to Devin Booker. Oh my gosh, that'd be a deadly duo. Oh my, think about it. Josh Jackson will drive, and what will people think? What will the defenders do? It's either leave Josh Jackson wide open for a dunk, or let Devin Booker shoot the three ball. And of course, Eric Bledsoe, again, one of the most underrated point guards in this league, because of course, of all the great point guards in this league, like Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, all the above, just like Damian Lillard, he is underrated. He's good on defense. He's a good all-around player. Your Walmart Chris Paul, if you want to say. But, the bench really isn't that good. There's some great defenders off the bench. And Dragon Bender's really good on offense, he's worked on his game this offseason. I've seen videos, and, Jared Dudley and TJ Warren are both defensive monsters. I mean, who knows about Brandon Knight? He's really not that good, but this team is amazingly young, and it's insane to think about where they will be in 5 years when these guys are so much better and probably reach their full potential, and see where they are, now. The other cool thing about this team is it's a nice mix of veterans and, young players. We got Tyson Chandler in there, and Eric Bledsoe, who will help mentor the young, players off this team. Like Tyson Chandler will help Dragon Bender and stuff like that. TJ Warren, Jared Dudley, all very, not very old players, but can still put in work, but have enough experience to teach the players how to play. It's also an awesome mix of shooting and slashing. I, talked about it later. Josh Jackson, a great slasher, and, Tyson Chandler, who's another pretty good slasher, and literally almost everyone else in the starting lineup, Chris and Devin Booker, are, your shooters. And Eric Bledsoe, who is the perfect mix of defense, slashing, shooting, and just the perfect point guard. And another thing, look at the starting lineup. Only one player cannot play defense, and that is Marquise Chris. And, power forwards aren't as big as they used to be. Probably you can put Josh Jackson if there's an insane power forward and not a good small forward, since Chris is very athletic and can play probably every position up to the shooting guard. So that's small forward, power forward, and center. And Chris, he's not that bad. So I hope you guys enjoyed on why I think the Phoenix Suns are the most underrated team in the NBA. Let's get right into the outro. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. That's 5 teams that are flying under the radar before this NBA season. I will keep it up to date on overrated teams. That's coming soon. And this was a 19-minute long video, so make sure you leave a huge thumbs up for all the hard work I put and a lot of time I put into this video, a lot of research and stuff like that. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you like it, leave a thumbs up. If you like my content in general and you're going to binge watch my channel, make sure big subscribe and comment your opinion. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see